I saved £2,000 by building this IKEA kitchen myself. But as I approach finishing it, the question is, was it worth it? In the last episode, you left me just starting to build this centre island. Putting the centre island together was actually exactly the same as all the other bits. All I had to do was build the basic carcasses and then screw them together. At this point I noticed that two of the carcasses were different, and I thought, well, one of those must be for the hob. And in a moment of terror I realised what I'd done. The other one was supposed to be for the sink, and I hadn't used the correct carcasses, and I could only hope that that didn't come back to bite me. The system came with this small piece of wood that actually hammers through the brackets at the back. It's a pretty crude system, to be honest, and I could have done the same with any bit of old wood, but it definitely did the job, so no problems there. This piece of wood, added to the fact that each of the carcasses was screwed together, actually made it feel very strong. And as I move it, it didn't really feel like it was likely to ever come apart. But that wasn't the whole story. There was some 2x4 that had also come with this kit. Now, this was a pre-drilled 2x4, but to be honest, that really was no easier than if it had just been a piece of wood I bought from the hardware store. So if you're straining your ears to try and hear what I'm listening to in the background, I'm actually listening to the audiobook of Ian Fleming's Moonraker, which, just so you know, bears absolutely no similarity to the film. But anyway, back to the kitchen build. So this is what feels almost like a comically strong base for this island, but of course the stronger the better, so I'm happy with that. It also comes with little feet so you can get it exactly level, but actually I won't need these because I'm mounting mine on casters. You have to cut it to length and then screw it with an Allen key bolt through the pre-drilled holes to put it together. It's very, very simple, and I'm pretty sure anyone could do it. Well, I managed it, so that basically proves that anyone could do it. This did actually cause me a slight problem later towards the end of the build, because the extractor from the hob was actually supposed to exit under these units, and the only way for it to do that would be literally to pass through these pieces of wood. But considering these pieces of wood are what's holding it together, I couldn't cut them apart. So I actually had to find a new place for it to exit, and only time will tell if that was a good choice or not. So I'm just screwing up these Allen key bolts, and to be fair, it wouldn't be an IKEA build without these, now would it? Now, yes, of course you are quite right. I could have just put an Allen key bit into my impact driver and done this in 20 seconds, but I couldn't be bothered to go and get it. So this is my island. This is my island in the sun. So I have built this island. This was good fun, actually, to build, and I've really over-engineered it. It's got massive, great wooden things underneath it to hold. So it's all good, and you'll see we've got like a waterfall edge here. The reason I would have loved to have done a mitre here, but the reason I haven't is because of the nature of this plasticky stuff. It's just going to fray if I try and cut a mitre point on it. If you know a better way of doing a mitre on it, then do feel free to let me know. At the moment here, we've got these bits of cardboard underneath, and they're to keep it just off the ground. Now, you might be wondering, why am I keeping those bits just off the ground? Well, the reason is because I've actually built this island on casters so that it can actually be moved. Because for Christmas, I need to seat 18 people on a big table in here. So this island is going to roll into the other room and be used as a buffet table. And I'm actually going to use one of these connectors, something that I'm very used to from the hospitality industry, to connect the hob so it can come apart safely, like that. Next job on the list is to attach these cover panels to the sort of inside relief section of the island. So this is the bit where basically your legs can go if you're going to use it as a breakfast bar. Now, it's worth bearing in mind that these cover panels are slightly wider than the 60 centimeters of each of the base carcass units, which means, of course, that I'm going to have to cut them down to size. So what I've decided to do is keep the middle one full size and then rip down one side of each of the two outside panels, because I'm figuring if you need to get an edge exactly perfect, which of course the ones in the middle will absolutely have to be, it's best to use the edge that's machined, and then the ones which meet the Formica top on the outside, if they're a millimeter or so out, it's not really going to notice, or at least that's what I'm hoping. But either way, I'm marking them and then using that exact measurement to cut them again with the panel saw, the same as I did for the work surface. Now, these cover panels are obviously much thinner than a work surface, so it's going to be much easier to cut. But do bear in mind, they're much easier to cut, but they're also much easier to scratch. So you do have to be really careful. Make sure you protect them from your clamps if your clamps haven't got rubber ends, and also make sure that you are very careful to masking tape over the whole surface, because the teeth of the saw can very easily damage this surface. Now, the first time they delivered this kitchen to me, they actually gave me the wrong colour boards. They gave me too many white ones and not enough wood ones. Something that I didn't notice immediately on the delivery, so always be really careful when you take delivery of these things. And yes, here's the really cool shot that I used right at the beginning of this video. Well, I think it's cool anyway. Of this entire build, the bit that I found the most frustrating was actually probably the drawers. They have quite a few different components and I've found them really pretty fiddly to put together. Not difficult, but definitely fiddly. And the base of the drawers, which are made of Formica covered chipboard, if you weren't very careful, it's actually very easy to snap bits off. The irony is that once they're assembled, they're actually pretty strong. But as I say, the actual process of assembling them is frustrating. And the problem I had is this kitchen is almost all drawers. In fact, we spec'd very few cupboards. It's these bits under the drawers that actually break off when you're trying to push them down, because you have to push it really hard to get it into place. And obviously, I guess it's a good thing that you have to push it hard, because that's why it's strong. But it's a delicate balance, and if you push it too hard, it will break.
You seem to be having difficulty.
Even Ian Fleming could see I was having trouble with these drawers. Now, the IKEA drawers that I've made in the past have all screwed together, which, to be honest, I would say is a much better system, because you always know that you're going to get it in the right place. But anyway, these do work. The only advice I can give is make sure you do one side and then the other. The instructions will tell you to put the sides onto the back and then try and push the base of the drawer in. And I would say that that is practically impossible. The instructions do tell you to put one screw in the middle at the back, which I did do. And then I noticed that there are actually two other screw holes on either side. And even though there were not screws provided for those, I did actually add screws to them and found that did improve the strength. All I can assume is that they were originally designed to have the 3 screws, and then in some sort of cost-cutting exercise they put it down to just 1, which is why there's already the holes pre-drilled. Luckily the price of a screw is only a few pence, so it makes perfect sense to put 1 in all 3. This particular drawer that I'm doing right now is one of the deepest, So you'll see that the drawer front is actually, I think, about 30 centimeters deep, so it's pretty big. Now, they are held by these very small plastic clips, which look like they won't be strong enough, but actually they seem incredibly strong, and I'm very happy with them. And they also are very easy to put together, so this is definitely a big win for IKEA on that one. Now, the instructions will actually tell you not to use an impact driver, but instead to use a hand screwdriver on all of these fittings. But to be honest, I've found as long as you're careful and don't have the torque setting too high, it works perfectly. Then all I have to do is screw on these two push-on connectors at the top. Again, have the look of something that's going to be really weak. But amazingly, once it's all together, they seem incredibly strong. The base of the drawer then simply slides on to those two clips on either side, which is kind of like Lego. The clips fasten by kind of opening them, and then you push inside a little bit of metal and it brings it really, really tight. So now I just need to put the runners on the drawers, which is a nice easy job even with Alfie's incredibly useful help. But they just screw in with, there's two pre-drilled screws on either side, and then you add two self-tapping screws as well. These runners are super smooth and they actually have a nice soft close to them, so you don't have to add any extra soft closers to them, so you don't end up with someone slamming the drawers all night long. Here you can see the two supporting rods that also clip in at the top of the drawer. Now those, as I mentioned before, literally just clip on to those plastic clips, and even though it doesn't sound it, it's very strong. Now, okay, I'm sort of pushing away at this drawer in a kind of awkward way, but once it goes in, it just clicks in and then it runs really smoothly. Right, fourth time lucky, there we go, nice. And that's the soft close. Okay, so last night, come a bit closer. So last night, my pal Ryan came round and we managed to get this oven fitted in. I still need to screw it in. As you can see, there's like screw points. Now, this was a second-hand oven, but it seems to work great, so that's good. Wiring it in was a little bit of a mission. I've deliberately not recorded me doing that because I don't want to be responsible for suggesting to any of you how to wire stuff, because I'm not qualified to do that. So that's why I've not shown you that. But it was fiddly, but not a massive issue. And there's loads of electrician videos you can watch about that. Microwave went in super easily because that just plugs in to a socket, which is so easy. You come with me over here. So I've replaced those white sockets that we had for two nice black sockets, which are obviously going to look a lot nicer against the wood. Other thing we've got, as you can see, all the power's turned off here at the moment, which is why I've got this light to light everything up. So let's show this. So we put this sink. Now I know I've spilt a load of silicone here, so don't even look at that, but I will get rid of it before we're finished. But I silicone this sink in here. Because it was a small sink, I got away with using the wrong carcass, but otherwise I'd be in trouble. So here's the sink, and I've not quite finished the plumbing as yet, so that still needs to be complete, but that should be pretty easy, I think.
Welcome to Baking with Eva. Today we're making lemon cake with lemon flavoured icing. I like it.
As you can see, Eva is already loving the new kitchen, but I need to put the hob in. As you can see, it came with a ready routed line to help me cut, which is great. I'm assuming they didn't cut it right through, so it was stronger in transit. Now, you do actually have to be really pretty careful with this because it's the outside line of the routed area that you need to cut. So if you get it wrong, you're actually going to cut into the work surface, and there's not much margin for error because the edge of the hob is only about maybe 4 mil, 5 mil from the edge. The moment I've been looking forward to for quite a while is peeling off this protective plastic. Now, I'm actually very happy with the finish on the Formica. It didn't look great before the peel, but I think this looks awesome. I'm really happy with the Induction Hob. I also think all the appliances go really well together, which is amazing considering they're all completely different manufacturers. So the smoke extract for the hob is actually sucked down the middle. Now obviously I can't really give you a view yet as to how that works, but I will make another video to tell you whether or not I'm happy with it in the future. I went to some very simple drawer pull handles, and this is the bookshelf to one side, which I was again very happy with. If you're wondering about the sockets that I actually cut the hole in the wrong place, well, what I did is actually move the position of the socket to fit the hole, which actually worked perfectly and they fitted exactly right. So the big question is, was it worth the £2,000 saving doing it myself rather than paying someone else to fit the kitchen for me? Well, I'm going to say 100% yes, because I did it in my spare time and I'm really happy with the results. But it also allowed me to add some unique features that I don't think their kitchen installers would have done for me, like having the center island on casters. Now, as you can see, I did make one mistake while I was doing this and damaged this corner. Now, I will have to repair that, but it doesn't look like a huge job. So thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope you've enjoyed seeing me install my kitchen, and I hope you've come up with some ideas of your own. Please let me know what you think, and if you like the finished product or not. Obviously that's going to be subjective and a matter of opinion. Please tune in to watch me on some more household tip videos that I'll be making, and I'll also be testing some of these appliances. Keep well. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye bye.